In and Out with me, Professor Yalman, from the TEDU radio studios at TED University. This is to reach out to those who have questions and want desperate answers. Why me? Because I've seen it all. I've seen it all in different aspects. I have been up, down, I was fired, I was hired, I was poor, I was rich. I fell in love, I lost my love, I became a kite surfer, I became a writer, I became a poet, I became a musician. I never stopped trying. At the end of the day, I never stopped trying. I never lost my hope. There was always a pinnacle in my life where the answers to those questions came. And if those answers are not coming by themselves, here's your chance to ask us. Ask us and I will answer them. As I say, life can get even or you can get a 7. So a 7 you can get much easier, not just believing in luck, but being persistently pursuing your path, which is your authentic path. Ask the questions. In and Out with Professor Yalman every week on Thursday with you. In and Out with Professor Yalman, me at Radio TEDU at TED University Studios. Here we are with the dearest Shaima. Yes,
Hello,
Shaima,
everyone.
I received your questions early on today and they were very interesting. I said to Leila, oh my God, these are very good questions, So
I'm
shoot.
glad. Okay. Let's start.
Let's start.
Okay, my name is Shaima Marouf. I'm a senior student in TED University doing business administration bachelor degree. And I have a class with
me?
Yes, in perception management, where like you learn a lot of things, how to perceive yourself, how to perceive others, and also like a brand management class where like you tell a story about yourself or like about the brand you wanna prepare or like showcase.
This is like advertising for me. Thank you very much. Yes, Shaima, I want to answer your questions. Go on.
Okay. As an ambitious person who would like to achieve big things in life, dreams that almost feels too big to be able to do, how can I break it down into actionable steps without losing the essence of what makes it inspiring?
Good question. But you know what? We build pillars in life, one at a time, baby steps. So divide things into baby things. Divide those big things into baby things. Very simple baby things. But make them interrelated to each other. So everything should be connected with an invisible stream to each other where once you pull the string, everything sort of grounds itself on top of each other and all of a sudden you have your big thing. So compile things and have a map, of invisible things there as if they had happened. Have a map, and as you go along, you can alter things. But don't try to grab the sandwich as it is, but cut it into small pieces and eat them with enthusiasm and slowly in motion. But again, with your delight and attitude, etc. But baby things.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for your answer. Let's move on. I usually fall between logic and emotion anytime I'm faced with tough decisions in life. How can I balance these two and know which one to apply for a better decision?
So, this is never going to end because it's a dance.
Yes.
Call it a salsa, call it a tango, whatever dancing art and kind that you want to put into it. But it's a dance. So while you're dancing, yes, your intuition is important, but people tend to count the steps. Don't count the steps. So don't count the steps. Let go, but know your rhythm. In a better way, I would put this as, for example, when we listen to a song, we usually listen to the music and we don't pay attention to the lyrics. But sometimes we pay attention to the lyrics, but we don't get the beat. But we have to do it all together. So as you listen to the music, you have to sort of make a habit of yours to listen to the lyrics, so how they combine each other. So your logic will be here saying to you something, but your emotion will be either supporting it or going against it. It's how you're going to be sort of flirting in between them, which is going to result into the right deed or action. It's not going to be only truly your logic. It's not going to be only emotion, because your emotions are your intuitive actions in terms of knocking on your spirit and soul and making you feel things. But your logic is learned things as you progress, which sort of helps you, find your way around it. So you need both of them, but not just be stable or stagnant. Just dance around them.
So should I like start with logic and then add emotions to it?
Let it go. Whatever comes first. Just as I said, don't count. Whatever comes first, put into the other, into action. Just feel it. But then when your logic says something, then think about it. Be mindful but heartful at the same time.
Okay, I love that. Okay, let's move on. As we are young, we feel sometimes like we are standing at crossroads in personal and professional growth. What advice would you give to someone trying to take their next big step forward as they want to achieve huge things at young age?
See, young age, age is not a thing. It's just a number. You might be, 57, 60, and you might feel 17. You might be 17 or 15. You might be as wise as a 70-year-old. So age is not the thing here. It's actually when you're young. When you're young, you can take higher risks. And when I look at throughout history, I look at Mozart, or I look at the conqueror Fatih, Sultan Mehmed. He was 21 when he conquered Constantinople. Or when you look at Mozart, he was like 5 or 6 when he was like composing. So young is not the thing. It's your inner wisdom. What does that tell you? Your inner child with your inner wisdom, how when they clash, when they get together, what is the performing outcome? So, but when you're young, you can take higher risks and you can bear the consequences easier. So try it. Dare to sort of step in and do the thing. And so lack of experience, people say, nowadays you can find the experience through AI, you can find the data analysis through AI, but you cannot find is what your emotional contribution to that thing is going to be. So, bear the consequences, take the risk, and utilize your energy of youth into actually putting yourself into that step taking rather than hesitating.
And do you suggest, like, as I grow up, should that risk be lower?
It depends on your identity, actually, and your way of dealing with things. Certain people never lose that. Certain people do lose it. So it depends actually who you are and who you're going to become. But as when I see people getting older and they have children and becoming mother and father, whatever, they tend to take less risks. But I also have friends who didn't sort of shy away of taking that risk. So how you are going to be in the coming years. But today, even though you're not a risk taker, your energy is actually there to be able to take that risk. And your logic is going to support it or disapprove it. There you have to sort of combine it with your emotional intuition.
Okay, thank you. How can I better tell my story in a way that inspires others while staying authentic to who I am?
Shaima, you're first of all a great storyteller.
Thank you.
Because you put a lot of emotions and enthusiasm into whatever stories you're telling. But you tend to sort of do this certain amount of mistakes like other great storytellers do. Sometimes people lose their train of logic, train of thought, so they sort of disappear in terms of where they are at that moment. So try to keep it short. Another thing is tell and shape your story according to the audiences that you're talking. So some audiences might sort of need more laughter, and the other audiences might need more serious stuff. Thirdly, don't start with a doubt in your mind, so saying, oh my god, are they going to like my story, etc. Don't doubt yourself. And lastly but not least, make them want more. So don't give them everything. For example, give a 30-second or 40-second of it, and then make them sort of ask you a question and want more, and then give another minute of it, and then gradually sort of make the peak, but then don't give them everything at that one shot, and make them sort of contact you back and want more and complete the story then. So you can use tactics as such, but already your eye contact, your enthusiasm, your word of speech is good for audiences to sort of at least sort of keep an ear on you.
Thank you so much. And that's all.
All right, great. Thank you, Shaima. Great questions for our session. Again, we are at Radio TED University Studios in Ankara, answering questions of students.
Thank you so much. It was a very helpful session.
In and Out with me, Semih Yalman, Professor Yalman, answering the questions of students. And today in the studio at Radio TEDU at TED University, we have Jordan. Yes, sir.
Yes. Hello. So I came with a couple of questions. I really hope to find proper answers to that.
Perfect.
My first question is about the fact that some of our students, we are really hungry for success. And in an attempt to be very successful in the future, we sometimes come across really good opportunities, but these opportunities requires us as students to do actions that goes against our moral principles. So would you say it's something suggestible to do as a student?
Let me answer this question in a couple of terms. Number one, short term, going against your morals and values might bring certain gains, but midterm to long term, you would regret that. So whatever you do in terms of actions, you need to pay a price for it. There's a consequence, a bundle of consequences which come with that. And now, in terms of your inner, we call it faith, you call it mindfulness, your heartfulness, your values, whatever, your upbringing. If it hurts, then you shouldn't go against your morality, because at the end of the day, it's going to sort of haunt you. But we can be also mindful and practical about these things. So you can maybe you should ask yourself, is my morality me hiding behind my comfort zone, or is my morality really my red lines? If it's your red lines, then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take that action, no matter how attractive that might be. That would be my suggestion too.
So because the reason I'm saying it is because some of us have very limited opportunities. For example, I come from Africa, and for me it's a huge opportunity to be right now in Turkey. So what if it was my only chance?
I mean, again, you have to. If you can bear the consequences, yes. But if you're not going to bear the consequences in the midterm or long term, or if you're going to be like, let me put it this way. Let's say you're taking a photograph and there's this guy with you, okay, in the same frame. But later on, if that guy is going to haunt you of being there because of this person's background or political tendency or religious tendency or aspirations, whatever that may be, then you shouldn't be in the same frame.
Also, there is this fact that sometimes I put in tremendous amount of work to hone a skill,
Yeah.
But then when the competition day arrives, I find myself underperforming because maybe my mindset isn't strong enough to withhold the pressure and stuff like that.
You know what? We need simulations in life, and our biggest actually field of simulation is sports.
Yes.
If you play sports, then you can take that area as a simulation. If you do yoga, you can take the mat as a simulation and see how you are dealing with certain aspects of your question there. And you can sort of gain a positive approach towards yourself in terms of, rather than saying I can't deal with it, or I can't sort of confront it, if you can confront it there, if you can deal with it there in real life, actually it's going to be the same scenario. So you need areas of stimulus, simulations, where you can sort of practice, and the best field is playing sports.
About that, in the past I used to play basketball.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of times really practicing my basketball with learned from one of the best in the school. Maybe you know some of them, like Emir.
Yeah.
But when the day came that I had to play like in front of people, it was my first time. I completely went blank. Like I couldn't see anything on the court. It was like it was my first time ever to play, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, maybe if you had sort of practiced playing sports or performing of any kind in front of people, then your shyness of audience would have disappeared. I mean, again, you need to practice in areas where you can create simulations. And then when it comes to real life, you'll see yourself performing.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. What are some of the biggest challenges personally you as a student faced, and how did you overcome them?
My biggest challenge was my field of study, because I was studying literature, and then on top of literature I studied marketing communications, and then I studied business, you know. So, but I was in the field of business, so that was my biggest challenge, because I was actually I had a broader focus than a narrow focus. At the end of the day, I did create a roadmap for me, and everything sort of came into an appeal where it all sank. But my recommendation for you would be to challenge of similar instances, to have a roadmap of your own, you know, a bigger map where you have your alternative routes, and these alternative routes and roadmaps should match your skills and interest areas and talents. And when it sort of all comes together in the fact that roadmap was very useful. But again, my biggest challenge, I didn't have that roadmap at the beginning. I did it as I went along. But having a roadmap at the very, very beginning of things, and then you alter as you go, would have been a better route for me. That was my biggest challenge. Stay focused.
Do you think it would have been better if you had like a mentor, someone to guide?
Yes, it would have been better to have a mentor. It would have been better to actually to have access to all the things that you guys have today, because at that time the only access we had was Harvard Business School case studies, or people who were like working around us. But today, you know, through podcasts and various shows and LinkedIn, in terms of reaching out to a large audience of network, I think it would have been fantastic if we had that during my days of your ageness, you know.
Yeah, but that's still, it's impressive, because you said you were into literature, but then you found a way to transition into business as you do today. So would you say it's something that's not relevant, like the degree or like the field you are right now? Because whenever you, if you can find yourself being able to focus into something that you're passionate about, you can always transition?
Yes, you can always do that. You can always pivot from wherever you are. But again, you need to understand what your interest is, what your skills are, what your talent is, what makes your heart beat, and where your enthusiasm is sort of flourishing, you know. But pivoting, yes, why not, you know.
Again, here is another question. What resources or habits have helped you personally the most in managing stress?
Again, I would, you know, this is a similar sort of answer to your previous question. I would say, yes, my ability of doing sports, or my tendency to sort of playing music and public speaking and performing in front of public. But at the same time, things like nutrition, you know, intaking whatever I was intaking in healthy things. If you're taking in unhealthy things, then you're performing unhealthy deeds. So I think those were the areas which sort of helped me sort of overcome certain things in life much faster.
So health and
Healthy nutrition,
yes,
yoga and sports, and public speaking and performing arts.
Yoga, like how was yoga helpful?
Is a simulation of life on the mat. So whatever your focus distractions are, your mental disabilities are, your if you're like stubborn or if you're inflexible about certain things, it sort of is a mirroring activity. So yoga is not just, aesthetics or, doing hard poses, whatever. It's actually you, the way you act, the way you show patience, the way you breathe, whatever, on that little area that you're giving in a limited time.
Right. What's the most important skill or mindset students should develop to succeed in today's
I would
world?
say 3 things. Number 1 is flexibility.
Flexibility.
Number 2 is resilience. Number 3 would be agility. Those 3 should be, if you want me to put a 4th one next to that, that would be curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Could you like develop a little bit?
Curiosity is action to seek and discover. If you're not curious, you won't sort of expand on something. So curiosity makes you sort of go that route of discovery with perseverance and persistence.
What about flexibility?
Flexibility is actually how you treat yourself or others in front of issues. If you're very rigid, you're not going to have your way. But if you're flexible and understand, it brings a certain agility into your flexibility, most likely you're going to sort of turn around the corner much smoother.
Right. Also, one thing I was very, very curious about is like today I noticed you have like a really broad range of network, like a couple of people from different fields.
True.
As a student, like if you were a student right now, what are the actions that you will perform in order to not only knowing people, because like one of the CEOs which came last time suggested us to always keep in touch with our friends.
Yeah.
But not all of them are showing proof that maybe they are going to be great people. But so my question is, how to get in touch with people that have like that potential? Like you look at someone and you're like, oh, this guy is going to be someone and perhaps it's going to be beneficial for me.
You chat. You make sure that you ask the right questions to them. Keep in touch with them with the things they might be interested first, but then put your interest areas into spectrum. But you interact. People love interacting. If they'll be part of your network.
I think like probably 90% of students, what they are scared of, including myself probably, is rejection. Like, oh, what if I go to this person and it doesn't go to my way,
Yeah, rejection translates into a feeling set of invaluable and feeling invaluable and not worthy. It translates into a feeling of disgust or sadness or fear. I mean, what happens if they reject? So what? You're not going to sort of miss out on anything because you're already rejected if you don't touch base.
Right.
Yeah. So dare to try, dare to sort of make that movement, make that action, because you're already rejected. I mean, if that's the case, there's no contact. But once you make the contact and you're not rejected, then all of a sudden you have +1.
Right. But again, like if I'm going towards a CEO, for example, as a student, he's a CEO already. What is it that I have to offer to him? So
he's a CEO, but you're a student. You're the future. He's a CEO, but you're from Africa, which is an undiscovered potential of land and people. He's a CEO, but you are a student who's studying these various concepts as of today, who knows more than he does. So if you put them all in one context, in one bundle, he will be interested. It's how you package things.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Jordan. Thanks so much. Having you was great. As we are talking with Jordan, we're going to have new students coming in. thank you very much. They were very valuable questions. In and Out with Professor Yalman at University TEDU Radio TEDU Studios, and we're continuing our program, answering the questions of our dear students. And I have today Farouk with me. Yes, Farouk, a set of serious questions I believe you have sort of prepared, but I will make them fun for you, don't worry. Yes, I'm all ears.
Thank you for the invitation, Hojam. So let me introduce myself. My name is Farouk. I'm from Morocco, and this is my last year in TEDU. I'm pursuing a bachelor in business administration. And thank you. So the first question is, what are some key takeaways from your experience at Harvard Business School's advanced management program that students can apply to their own careers?
Whether it's an MBA or advanced management program or an owner's program or any certificate degree in Harvard, I think there are three important things. It's the network that you build. It's having a pause of whatever you're doing and concentrating on your environment and ambience at that moment, and the discussion sessions with the professors and the students. And thirdly, actually, it's the cases, the cases that they introduce to you and that you read from various disciplines and sectors. So, and then the debates that you sort of build with your fellow students. I think that's the biggest take. But, specifically about the advanced management program, people who come there, they are actually just prior to their CEO-ship or chairmanship. So they're either vice presidents of big companies, or they're just about to take the flag from their dads in their own companies, etc. So those people come there. So you sort of listen to a lot of challenges that they're facing and they're just about to face, and what they're going through emotionally, but at the same time radically, from all around the world. So it's a very nice international hub to be there. But another funny thing, actually, when you arrive, they told us this. They said they have this 80% ratio of whoever sort of attends this program. They either change their marital status, or change their job, or change the way they live life. In my case, it was all three.
Oh.
So that 80% rule was very interesting to listen to. But then, it's sort of, because you sit down at an age of 40 something, and you look at your life, and not all the time you have this sort of silent period where you're back in college again, and then dealing with different issues, but listening to different experiences. So you sort of think about your life. So those are the fun but serious part of.
So can we say, Hojam, like not specifically Harvard Business School, but can we say like for all the prestigious universities, like do they offer a better networking opportunities?
Yeah, of course, because like best of the best want to go there, and you sort of meet people from different disciplines and different backgrounds and different tendencies that they inspire about life. So yeah, I mean, going to a school where it has a better reputation among the other schools, it helps you sort of meet different people. But the cases are the same cases. Other schools sort of also utilize the benefit of Harvard Business School cases, or Stanford cases, or MIT cases, whatever. But it's the atmosphere and the network that sort of you're exposed to there.
I see. Thank you, Hojam. Second question is, how can students balance academics with professional activities or side projects to enhance their career?
First of all, don't look at school as, you come to school, you attend class, and then you meet with people, and then you leave, and it's actually a combined package of internships that you should be also doing as you're studying in whatever field that you're in. But at the same time, if you don't want to sort of do internships and divide your time, especially the first couple of years, your freshman and sophomore year, you can do informational interviews. You can go to a lot of companies and you can say, I'm here for an informational interview. I want to sort of find out your job, the environment here, the culture here. So you can ask clever questions to these people and then sort of meet those people and add them to your network, but at the same time, you have all this, solid and new information, advanced information coming into your spectrum of studies. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be attending seminars as much as possible, in the school or at other universities. So when you're in a city where there are more than one university, you should be in contact with other universities as well, because their professors, their network of students, and their seminars will be very, very valuable for you. And lastly, but not least, I would say the embassies, for example. If you, let's say you want to work in the UK or US or Africa someplace, Cameroon. You can go to their embassy, and they have attachés of trade and business. So introduce yourself, and then ask them to introduce you to their network of business people from their country. So then all of a sudden you're into their network. You're going into their network with your keen enthusiasm, and you meet a lot of different people and their way of doing business, etc. You can be part of the Chamber of Commerce as an intern. You can be part of associations like TÜSİAD, for example, Business People Association in Turkey, again as an intern. So just make the most out of it from the geography or city that you're in, so that you get a good appeal and mold of cultures and atmosphere that people will offer you.
Thank you. By your response, definitely shows me a mistake that I've been making since the first year here. I've never attended a seminar, or let me just with the titles.
For example, as I was coming in today, I saw 2 of my students who work for an audit company, and their company was here from 2 to 3 o'clock talking about the audit sector.
Okay.
I mean, being a business student, that would have been definitely a good seminar to attend.
Definitely.
For example.
The following question is: what challenges did you face early in your career, and how can students prepare for similar challenges in their professional journey?
See, when you're a student and you're not doing these internships, or you're not working as you're studying, whatever, the challenges you face, especially I faced, was first of all when I got my first job, the culture of the company. You don't know, because culture of company is different than actually business itself. Every company has their own culture, way of doing things, the way of presenting things. They all have their own formats, timelines, sort of decision order trees, etc. And then sense of urgency. How urgent is something that you're doing? How should you prioritize things? At the same time, your time management, how you should sort of manage time with dealing all these things. If you spend hours decorating a presentation, but they're not keen on presentation decorations, then it's waste of time. So understanding what they're about and their culture, their priorities, etc. And at the same time, the thing which was interesting was, if you are not exposed to these cultures early on, then you would be treating them like school. So what I would recommend is treat your school at the moment as a company. So if this was a company, if University TED University was a company, how would you sort of treat this company? What are the mechanics? What is the culture? So make yourself a duty of discovering or analyzing a culture as if you are decoding it, like a puzzle game. Reverse the puzzle game, looking at the pieces, etc. So that will help you. But again, understanding the culture and understanding way of doing things, priority management, time management, these are issues which was challenging for me, but I still think it's challenging for anybody today. Plus, AI coming into the spectrum today, how the company deals with AI and AI tools, and how they utilize AI, and how would they perceive you in terms of putting AI into work from the field that you're going to be starting. That's also an important ethical and cultural issue for you guys to watch out.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. And why is networking important for students, and how can they effectively build and leverage their network? So I just wanted to give us a short message for people who don't like networking. And shout out to my friends from Morocco.
You know what? Today, network is your net worth.
Mhm.
So who you know, is going to matter so much, because you don't know today if, for example, your dear fellow student Shaima or Jordan or Layla is going to be the CEO of XYZ company or the vice president of a country. You don't know. Okay, so networking is very important, but keeping alive the network is more important. You might, just adding people into your phone library or your LinkedIn is not very valuable. It's keeping it alive, and make sure that you are in touch with those people. You're following these people. You're prioritizing in terms of your bundle of people as well. That's important. Another important thing about networking is, it's, as I answered previously in the other question, Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, MIT, Oxford, Cambridge, all these are big alumni networks. So alumni networks are important. They take care of each other. So when you're asking for an answer of a very radical question that you have in mind and you can't solve it, it's just a fingertips or a phone call away to reach out to these people, even though you haven't studied together with them. So it's and LinkedIn today, that's why LinkedIn is so important, because LinkedIn sort of makes it possible for you to reach out to people that you don't even know, because the other person that you know is your all of a sudden reference because you're on their list. All right. Another thing is actually coming back to your very last issue, for people who don't like networking, then start with liking the question, saying how are you, or saying hello to a person, because the conversation will sort of come in. I know a person that, saying hello to a person at a park, and then offering that person a watermelon became an actor in an Italian movie later on, because the person who said hello was an Italian producer. So you never know what's going to happen to you. So start with a hello, and then a smile, and then carry on from there.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And next question is, if you were a student today, what specific steps would you take to stand out in the competitive finance industry?
See, whatever industry you're in, I think every industry is sort of dismantling into pieces. So talking about finance now, I would look into what is needed, what type of finance is needed. For example, right now, fund management, portfolio management, funding startups, finding funding, intangible assets management. These areas are certain important peaks in finance, but it's at the same time how actually companies are going to be evaluated or valued with AI coming into the game as part of their task force. So I would sort of look into the upcoming areas, but also areas where I feel also very interested and I'm skilled in. That would be number one. Number two, I would go after the hubs and experts. So if you're in finance and London is a hub, I would make sure that I go to London and meet people there. If New York is a hub, I would go there. Hubs are important. People are important, so follow those people. For example, if you want to sort of get into finance, definitely follow Jamie Dimon and read also books on House of Rothschild and Rockefellers, etc. Study the investment strategies of Warren Buffett, all these no-brainers right now. And also listen to podcasts. That's the fastest way, the most summarized and abbreviated way that you would sort of get knowledge. And one door will lead you to another door. Think of yourself in a corridor. You can walk down the corridor, but at the same time, if there are doors in the corridor, even though they're shut, you would knock on the doors and open those doors, and you would sort of put your face or head into those doors or rooms and try to find out what's going on. So don't walk an empty corridor. You know, just make sure that you make the stop, because time is irrelevant. You know, just utilize time to your benefit. So make the stop, knock the doors, get to know these hubs, these people, but most importantly, what area of that dimension or discipline is expanding or booming in the coming years. You should sort of watch out, have an eye on that.
I really like the example that you gave about the corridor. Thank you so much. Yeah, like it really touched my thoughts. And last question is, in life, sometimes you feel that you are indecisive. So what piece of advice can you give us if we're faced with such a situation?
You know, there are three things to do. Number one, you can just toss a coin, 50%, and then trust the coin. Okay. Number two, you can play a game of ball and a hoop and say, close your eyes and say, if I hit the basketball loop and make the point, I'm going to take that. Okay. Or number three, which is actually an easier way, dare to try to find out. Dare. You know, what are you going to lose? You're not going to lose anything. So try it. So again, a lot of people sort of think about time as losing time, No, but use time to your benefit. Don't sort of race with other people. You're not a horse. Okay? You have all the time in the world. And even today, if you were to play sports, for example, now in the past people used to play football or soccer or whatever until they were 30 years old. Now they play until they're 40. Now they play until they're 40, 45. So time is becoming more and more irrelevant. It's how you use your time, how you manage your time, and how you interact with time. Okay? And you can make everything timeless. Because as you go into things, as you start pursuing things, as you dare to do those things, you will see that even though you took a wrong route, you will find out the right path much faster and easier. It's all about path finding and understanding your bearings.
I see. Thank you so much, Ujum. Thank you. I appreciate your answers.
Excellent session today with our dear students. We are at In and Out with Professor Yalman at University, TED at Radio TED-U Studios. Come and ask questions. Ask your questions. We're here. We're keen to answer them. The more you ask similar questions, and make sure that you post this program further so we can reach more and more of you, not just in this university, but the universities all around the globe. Thank you very much. And at Radio TED-U In and Out with me, Professor Yalman. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.